A guy revealed on national TV that his girlfriend's sister came into the room where he was sleeping, got in bed with him, seduced him, and he found out that she was asleep the entire time. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show. Today I'm talking about sleepwalking, and now we have terms for sleep everything. So if you search YouTube, you will find a video about two friends who videotape a third friend. We'll call him Bob. So the two friends start out the video by telling you that Bob sleepwalks. But this is no ordinary sleepwalking. Bob has a very active sleep disorder. Before I get into this, let me describe something scientific to you or biological to you. So, when a normal person with all of their chemicals going normally, when you go to sleep, the brain issues a chemical into your body which paralyzes your body. And the whole purpose of this is so that you remain still while your brain still remains active. Your brain is what tells your body to move. So when you're asleep, let's say millions of years ago, if we lived in caves, we wouldn't get up and actually walk over to the ledge because we might walk over and fall off of a cliff or something like that, right? So if you want to go with that whole we live in caves things. So to combat that, the brain issues this chemical into the body which paralyzes the body. Now the interesting thing is, if you wake up and you are paralyzed, it gives you a fright, and people do wake up. Some people have even further hallucinations when they wake up and realize that they're paralyzed. They think that the witch doctors and shamans were able to wake themselves and be in that state where they're still paralyzed but fully aware of what's going on. And the reason why that's special is that when you actually wake up, the body absorbs that chemical and it vanishes, and you're able to get up and go do whatever you want to. What's special is if you can wake your brain up and be able to look around and what have you, that chemical is still in the body and has not been absorbed, and then you go into this hallucinatory state. This is why they think people see visions, see God, what have you, and do all sorts of things. But it's more than just lucid dreaming. It's a state where you are actually, your eyes are open and you are fully aware of what's going on. That chemical is intended for a dream state, and so the awake person is in this dream state, and they start hallucinating immediately because this chemical is flowing through their blood. Well, sleepwalking means that you don't have that chemical in your blood at all. So your dream state is your sleep state without any physical restraints. So let's get back to this video. The two make this video, and it seems fake at first, but let's take it as fact. So Bob, the sleepwalking friend, goes into the kitchen and makes cereal. Well, he puts the cereal bowl into the microwave, and that's the end of that little segment. Then Bob goes out of the house, and they film him running down the street. Then he comes back to the house, and he gets on the bike, and then they take the bike away from him because he could run in front of a car. Okay, he comes back to the house, and the film ends when Bob tries to go for a swim, and they have this common sense to stop him because he could drown, because he doesn't have really any control, any logic about any of his movements, or nothing. His breathing, nothing. He has no control. He's in a dream state. Well, they have done this investigation on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, of the other things that people do while they are in this sleep state. You can have sex, you can cook, you can drive a car. But the worrisome thing, of course, was the having sex. The lead story that I led off the video with was about a guy whose girlfriend's sister came into the room and had sex with him. And of course, he freaked out when he figured out that she was asleep. She was completely asleep, and he didn't know what was going on. And of course, then he was very afraid that she would claim rape. And there's other instances like that. And the big issue is that they think the person will claim rape, even if they are dating, because they are asleep and really have no control over it. But a lot of the times you have no idea what's going on. In a dark room with the lights out in a bed, you think that the person is doing something consciously because they are moving around and doing stuff. But when in reality, they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And that's where that goes on. Now, the more interesting thing is the people who cook. There's people who sleepwalk and go to the fridge. I'm sure people have seen that sort of lightweight stuff, and I always think that America is so naive when they made the term sleepwalking, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's people who actually cook, not just go to the fridge, not just open up the fridge, not just take out and start eating raw hamburger or something like that. People do that. But they actually go to the fridge and go to the cabinets and what have you in the kitchen and cook. I don't know if the meal is fantastic or anything. I want to think that from my experience, from what I've heard, it's probably something awful, but they cook. They actually, I guess it would probably depend upon the experience of the person. So I guess a Betty Baker would probably bake up something wonderful while she was sleepwalking, or whatever the term is. I just wanted to lighten up the mood by telling you the story. I think it's pretty amazing and fantastic. The more I read about the brain and read about the biology, I discover that most of the things that we ascribe to God is nothing more than the chemicals that are running around our body. And as the elites discover more and more about this, they know exactly how to manipulate us with sound, colors, to evoke emotions and program us just through the TV. I don't watch TV. We don't watch television, and we definitely don't watch commercials, which is where the programming really comes in. In those commercials, they will pass themselves off as real doctors doing real research, and they'll say things that seem like they are factual when they're not. The elites have discovered that the human brain is nothing more than a bunch of chemicals being exchanged and secreted at the brain's control. So if you can take over the brain's control, you can control a person. And this is what I think the sleepwalking is evidence of. You have a person who does not have a chemical in their brain to paralyze the body, and therefore their entire sleeping experience is actualized in the physical world. So I hope there's no instances of them trying to fly or anything like that. That would be, of course, tragic. When I fly, I always fly off of cliffs, so that would be tragic if other people did that and tried to fly and flew off cliffs. That would be the end of that dream. So let me repeat that. There are people who are trying to ascribe things to God as not that I don't believe in God, but I'm trying to say that there are some ignorant people in this world who have been controlled by their parents, who took them to a minister, and the minister fed them some stuff, and then when something like this happens, they believe it's from God, and when in fact it's not God. God is in you. You are God. You don't have to go to a church. You don't have to believe in some minister. You'd be the best person that you can be. Understand that you have a bunch of chemicals running around your body which make you think certain things, and people think that they are the Bible says you're judged by your mere thoughts. That's baloney. You don't have control of your thoughts. The chemicals that are spurting in your brain constantly are what creates the thoughts, and it's not you that creates the thoughts. I mean, so if you have this thought of killing babies, it's not you having the thought, it's those chemicals that are having the thought. And this is when you get into it in the court cases, this is where this stuff really comes to bear. Do we send this person away for life for some sort of action when we can prove that somebody else gave him a chemical, and we know that the chemical reacts this way in the brain? And this is why people get off on, I was drunk, but the courts who want to send people away to jail and then grab some money for the private prison system, they're just high-fiving each other, when in reality we should be sending those people to hospitals, making sure that they are chemically balanced. And this is where that term even comes from, that making sure that you're chemically balanced. Psychiatry, on the psychological part of it, is a dead science. The medical side of it is a perfect science, if we apply the medicine perfectly and not just start handing out medicine for big pharma. I know I'm trying to make this video a light video, but I just have to explain all of this stuff. So the sleepwalking, which is I'm using the general term, is simply intended to say that the person doesn't have the chemical which paralyzes their body when they go to sleep. And then they do all sorts of activities, including sex, during that state. They have absolutely no control. They are dreaming. They have absolutely no control over what's going on. I don't know if I've heard of anybody murdering anybody, but the person is dreaming. They're not in control of what is going on. If you can, I guess, take a blood sample while that is going on, you will see that the chemicals that should be there are not there. And it's probably replaced with some overriding chemical, if it is there. And that's what you would have to be aware of. But I just wanted to make you aware of this very interesting and fascinating circumstance of people doing stuff like cooking and driving and eating, trying to swim. Now, of course, I think the friends who filmed the guy running around, jumping on bikes in the middle of the street and stuff, I think they were terrible. Of course, they took the opportunity to film him, not to stop him at any instance. I mean, he could have put all sorts of knives and fork in the microwave and then, blown himself up, and they probably would have thought it would have been the funniest thing. Anyway, I didn't want to make this video this long. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.